So moving on to what the Patriots could do this offseason, what do you think they're going to do in free agency this year?
I think that they're going to try to sign their own guys. I think they're going to try to keep Nate Solder. I think they're going to try to keep Rex Burkhead because he'll be pretty affordable. As someone pointed out in the comments, they hope they sign Dion Lewis. That's going to be really tough. Dion Lewis has injury history. He's going to want to get paid. The Patriots don't necessarily like to pay players more than what they think they're worth. They have a whole bunch of running backs already, and they don't necessarily value the individual at that position more than they do the stable of running backs. There's a report out there that Lewis is going to want a 3-year deal with around $15 million, with around $10 million guaranteed throughout the first 2 years, if I remember correctly. So Lewis is going to want to get paid, and he should get paid. This is his chance to really cash in on his career. He's been injured a lot. He's going to hit the tail end of his career soon. He's going to want to get his money. Some team out there, whether it's the 49ers or the Lions or someone, is going to be willing to pay him that money. I think Lewis ends up elsewhere, and it's not going to be because the Patriots don't want him. It's going to be because they can't afford the price that other teams are willing to pay.
Yeah, and that would be about $5 million a year for what Dion Lewis is asking, and I think the James White deal is about $3 or $4 million a year. I think if they didn't have the James White deal, they could hold on to Dion Lewis, but they can't pay two guys at that sort of rate for multiple years, so I think that Dion Lewis ultimately does go. In terms of a free agent splash, I think that the team really needs a pass rusher, and I've been looking at the top 50 overall tight ends in the NFL, and the options at pass rusher aren't great right now. I think the sort of guy the Patriots have a shot at is like Alex Okafor, who was on the Saints and had injury issues last year, but had he had 1 year of major injury issues, but had a breakout season, where the Patriots are going to have to kind of roll the dice on a guy that had a really good year and hope that they buy low on a guy that ends up having a big year. Like the best example for they need guys similar to what they got in like Andre Carter and Mark Anderson a few years ago, where they kind of bought low on mid-level pass rushers, and those ended up working out. I think that's the best route for the Patriots to go. It's real tempting to be like, oh, the Patriots could have had Chandler Jones, so they should go get a Chandler Jones, and then they sink a bunch of money into Ezekiel Ansah, and like, oh man, this guy's not that good, and that's like a 5 or 6 year deal. That's the sort of deals the Patriots don't make.
Right. Yeah, I think that I think they're pretty cautious this year in free agency. They made their big free agent splash last year with Stephon Gilmore. I think they end up getting guys that will just fill in some of the spots, fill in some of the holes that have been on this roster, and then maybe try to focus on the draft. I don't think they end up going for some of these bigger name free agents because they don't want to get into bidding wars. They don't want to cripple themselves with a bad contract, and this is the kind of time when you sign bad contracts. And so I think that Alex Okafor is a good example as someone I know at cornerback maybe they'll sign like a veteran or two that they'll consider in training camp time, like someone like Vontae Davis, who's a free agent right now, got cut in the middle of the season. Perhaps he's someone that they see if he has anything left in the tank as a number 2 cornerback. If he doesn't, then they can just cut him. Like they do that all the time with veteran players in training camp. So that may be someone that they look at. And overall, though, I think they're going to be pretty cautious. They're going to try to re-sign their guys. They've got a lot of contract extensions coming up, I think. So it'll be a cautious offseason, I think, for the Patriots.
Speaking of cornerback.